questions. Look to the person to your left and right and find out if that person is Homo sapiens, Bactacus, Folderus, Jansportis, or Tablitus. Baka nga may Homo sapiens, Bayongis. This is how fast the learners are evolving in this context. They're the ones who will deal with Bunny and the wild, wide, wired world. And in addition, in this context, where a new species or set of species is operating, you'll find out that they have an important call out to themselves. And that is, they want to do everything. They want to try out as much as they could. They're so experimental. They're so adventurous. But the fact of the matter is that they are asking for guidance. How do I do it? Where do I begin? And that's where the pedagogue comes in. That's where we come in. Because this is the generation we will describe as multi-hyphenates. So, I'll show you samples, and via this set of samples, you will know what a multi-hyphenate is. Did you know that Robert, my good friend, is a sports and wellness champion? I know what you're saying. Sir, it doesn't show naman. But he is the ASEAN Deputy Secretariat for Sports and Education. Okay? And he was your speaker, right? He's an educational researcher. A very high level of citation index. If you talk about ASEAN higher education, Chow will always come out. And he's a Filipino, right? He is a policy development specialist, and he's ending his term at the ASEAN Secretariat, but his last policy document is reconfiguring higher education in the ASEAN. It's a policy document that will impact governmental plans. And did you know, he's a very prolific food photographer. So, if I introduce, and that's why I challenged you to introduce me earlier, because this is how you introduce people now. Ladies and gentlemen, prolific education researcher, the Deputy Secretariat, the Deputy Director for the ASEAN Sports Wellness Education Sector, a respected policy development specialist, but is also a food photographer. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Roger Chow. That's a multi-hyphenate, right? Oh, sir, yun lang pala yun. No, there's more. Let's look at another sample. Did you know he's one of the singing soak presidents of the Philippines? But if you look at Dr. Muyong, oh, so serious, right? Head of OICAD, the one who determines the level of the soak. And the level of the soak translates to money. That's Dr. Muyong. But he is a multi-hyphenate. He does so well industrial technology, quality assurance, TechVoc, but he sings so well. But he keeps on hiding it. Right? The third person I'll introduce to you. Did you know he's a radio broadcaster? He's the only career scientist who explains science like a third grader. That's why people appreciate Custer. And Custer, take note, is not just a national career scientist. He is a respected international scientist. Do you know that his last engagement last year was in the International Federation of Astronomers? He's into physics and chemistry. And for a time was into nuclear physics. That's Custer. Then he went on to become the head of the research group in OICAG of CHED. He is responsible for NERA, the National Higher Education Research Agenda. Okay? But he is a very good food vlogger. You should have asked him, Sir, where's the best lechon in the Philippines? Yes, that's one of the things that Custer does. Do you know, and I will tell you this, after experimenting on too many types of rice cakes in the Philippines, he mistook a bar of soap one time for puto kalasyao. Because they almost look the same. Oops. Sorry, Custer. I'm also possibly a sample of this. Yes. I don't want to associate myself first with curriculum studies, but really more of learner experience design. I want learners to have fun. That has always been my goal as a teacher. Ask my students, one of them is the owner of Lorimar, and the way I explain Shakespeare is, I want to find a Shakespeare I will fall in love with. Because I can teach you Shakespeare as if you're dealing with a future husband that will never come. I'm into curriculum studies. And I coach very, very few schools on how to develop strategically. I've worked with the key universities on how they can move forward into the future, even mapping out how they can transform themselves, and even little schools. But you don't know that I write poetry, I'm a dancerist. Mahal ang bayad eh. So, huwag ngayon. And do you know that? Give me a day of a workshop where I will facilitate. I will also be the SDE producer. I can produce an SDE cut with only 120 images, and in 2 minutes, I can produce the actual video. Thanks to AI. Just discover it for yourself. There's a lot of fun things, right?